At the foot of the Mount of Olives, there was a tranquil garden with magnificent olive trees called Gethsemane. It was here that Jesus sought comfort and solace, where he prayed earnestly before his betrayal, arrest, and crucifixion on what we call Maundy Thursday. There are some really beautiful artworks out there of Jesus in the garden, which I've added to my Pinterest page, link in the description. In my Resurrection Village display, my miniature recreation of Gethsemane will need stately olive trees and one rock in the center. So the challenge? Find some village olive trees. But not just young, sprightly olive trees, an ancient grove of trees. The garden should be serene and somber, and it appears that I can't find any, so I'll just make them. I'm using Sculpey oven bake clay. A lot of my technique is from cake decorating. If I were working with fondant or gum paste, I'd call this working or warming the medium for molding. Just trying to get it a little pliable. Once it bends with ease, it's ready. I'm molding on parchment paper. I'm also cutting up floral wire into small sections, about an inch long, give or take. It doesn't really matter. You'll see why later. Olive trees are one of a kind. I'm just twisting the clay around, giving the tree a wind-worn appearance. With clay, it's better to start big and take away rather than add, so I'm stretching out branches from the main trunk. The more gnarly it looks, the better. Once I have a general shape I like, I'm taking these wires and inserting them into the clay in the direction that a future branch will go in. I admit this is looking like a tree from a Tim Burton film or horror movie at that, but I promise these wires will serve several purposes later. Just keep pushing them into the tree trunk, in random areas and in random upward directions. I'm going to mold out a few more tree trunks. You don't have to rush molding with oven-baked clay, so take your time. Once the trunks are ready, you'll transfer the parchment paper with the trees on them to bake. Bake according to your oven clay directions. Once they come out of the oven, they'll be really hot, so cool what seems like for hours. I'm painting on a coat of regular plain brown paint with a little bit of water. The wires sticking out of the trunk really help during painting because you can rotate the tree around by touching the wires instead of messing up your paint. The first coat on the clay will always look kind of like this. You can stop here if you want, or you can add more paint. I'm going to add a lighter coat on top, and I'm also going to dab on some moss green and let this dry. If you don't leave the wires in, your paint coatings will seal off any of those holes that you made. Next, I'm going to water down a dark brown and sponge it on, just so that the dark can run down these crevices for emphasis. It wasn't dark enough, so I mixed in some black. That's better. Allow to dry. You can cover your tree with Mod Podge or clear coat now if you wish. You'll begin by removing your wires with a pair of pliers, twisting a little bit if they're stuck. I try to remove a few at a time because it's really easy to forget where the holes are and just totally not see them. I found this faux plant at a craft store. It's not perfect, but I do like the size of the leaves and how dull the color is. Cut off a branch from your faux plant. Trim the bottom to expose the inner wire, or if there isn't an inner wire, trim the ends so that it is really narrow and spiky. It's easy to cut your finger during this step, so if you aren't scissor savvy, wear durable gloves or lay down the branch on a cutting board and slice it with an X-Acto knife. Insert the cut end into the hole in your tree where the wire was. Sometimes I'll dip the end of the cut branch into a little bit of glue and then put it in the hole. That helps hold it in and also seal it in. Continue adding branches into all of the holes. If you find any bare spots, simply dip the cut end of your faux plant in some glue and add it to any cracks or crevices along the tree trunk. And here is our ancient olive tree grove. Didn't take long at all to make, paint, or put together. They really do add a beautiful touch to the Garden of Gethsemane.